Welcome to the crossroads of grassroots gravel and blue-collar bikepacking. I'm Matt, your host, and this is the Gravel Warfare Podcast. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the Gravel Warfare Podcast, Season 2, Episode 2. I am here with Tiffany Burris. Woo! Tiffany is the founder, head coach of Darkearly Racing. She's a runner, she's a triathlete, she's a cyclist, and one gravel-crushing mother.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, Tiffany.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
What you drinking?
Some yoga pants. It's gluten-free. I heard that they made this yoga pants on a joke.
Really?
And then it was so popular they had to keep making it, so thanks.
Do you have to wear yoga pants when you drink yoga pants?
You know, I've often asked myself that question.
It seems fitting.
It really does seem fitting. Sometimes no pants is okay, too, but yoga pants are pretty comfy.
No pants, that's my kind of beer.
I know it is.
Yoga pants is from Martin City?
Martin City Brewing, and they support a lot of local cycling things. So that's pretty awesome that we have a local place that makes gluten-free beer. It's just for me. I mean, that's why they did it. They don't know me, but I do like to support local. So
they support local cycling. They support all kinds of stuff. They do not, however, support the Gravel Warfare Podcast. So Martin City Brewing Company, if you'd like to do that, you're welcome to reach out to me. I would gladly accept support, either in the form of cash or
beer.
Yoga
pants would be really good.
Yeah, maybe we can get some beer out of this deal. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome.
I'm having the Logboat Brewing Company Snapper. This is out of Columbia.
Feisty.
This is out of Columbia.
Oh, okay.
So we're both drinking local today.
Sweet.
It's an American IPA. It's got a turtle on it, so you know it's good. Probably made with pieces of real turtle. It says keep your paddle wet and keep my whistle wet.
There you go.
So, welcome to the podcast, Tiffany.
Thanks for having me back. I'm excited.
As you may remember, if you're a faithful listener to the Gravel Warfare Podcast, Tiffany has been here a couple times. Full disclosure, Tiffany is my wife. She's the stoker on the two-headed monster,
Yes.
and we had the Mid-South follow-up race recap where we told you all about that last year.
That's right. And I was back for Open Range.
And you were back on the Ladies of the Open Range podcast with Karen and Mary Lou.
That's correct.
So 3 trips to the Gravel Warfare Podcast for you.
I feel like a legend.
You are kind of a legend. I think this is a new record. And it's not just because you're my wife.
I mean, kind of. It is handy to have me.
It's pretty handy, but honestly, you're doing some good stuff. You're doing a lot of things in the gravel world.
Well, somebody's got to do it.
Right. Well, it might as well be you, right?
Might as well.
So, as you know, we're putting the podcast on YouTube. We've got the camera going here. This is a new thing for us, so I hope that's working out.
I hope so. I guess we'll find out.
Are you nervous?
Slightly. Camera is much worse than just the sound.
This will be your YouTube debut.
I know, it makes me super nervous.
And my 3rd trip to YouTube.
Ah, that's right. I forgot about your
Right?
first. Yeah.
Season 2 podcast number 1. If you haven't watched it, go back and do that. And
Path Less Pedaled.
I was on the Path Less Pedaled. I was king of bourbon.
You still are the king of bourbon.
I still claim that title. Even though I'm drinking the Snapper, I'm still king of bourbon.
That's right. I think so.
So, Joe Rogan, eat your heart out. We're coming for you. Gravel Warfare Podcast now on YouTube. It's going to be a thing, probably, if you all watch it and listen to it and subscribe to it and follow it and you like what you hear, or you don't like what you hear, but you listen anyway, or just turn it on for your dog when you're not home. That'd be cool, too.
Keep him company.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. There's a specific reason I've brought you on the podcast.
Okay.
I kind of want to turn things over to you, and I want you to tell me and tell all the listeners out there. I want to know what you're doing. You're doing something. You're in year 3 with this.
Year 3.
So you're in year 3 with this. So it's officially a thing. It's called the Dirt Road Debutante Gravel Academy. Now, I'm going to set this up. This is a women's only gravel cycling seminar/skills clinic, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yep.
So tell me the who, what, when, wheres, and whys. Where did this idea come from?
Well, it spawned in my brain during and after my first, and I suppose only, DK research and experience, where there was not a ton of information about gravel cycling, and specifically women gravel cycling. And I looked and I searched for information so I could learn how to coach myself in this new endeavor. And being a triathlon coach already, I was looking more for information than just like workout plans. Like I wanted to know what I needed to know, and there was no information at the time. So it kind of spawned from that. And I guess it's kind of something that I never thought I would do, never an avenue I thought I would go down. But really it's geared for beginner, and this year also intermediate gravel cyclists. And this is the first year we've been able to expand, which is pretty exciting that we've had that much interest in our clinic. It's really grassroots. It's I do all the work with the help of some local volunteers and other cyclists that want to grow women in sport. And it's geared so the beginner cyclist can come in, learn handling skills, gain a little bit of confidence, and have some knowledge when they leave so they know how to go ride and train effectively. And it's really geared for women because we are so different than men. The way that we train, the way that we eat, the way that we hydrate, the way that things impact us are so different. And keeping it women only allows women to open up a little bit to be able to express their concerns or opinions on things. And so it's not really meant to exclude, though I've been accused of that. It's really meant to give the women a place that they feel secure so they can open up. And then they've actually created a lot of lasting friends out of the clinic. And so we have a gal from Texas that's been back here to Kansas and stayed with another participant that they met at the clinic, hit it off, and they're great friends. And so that is, like, those stories are why it's women only, because you don't get the same kind of bonds when you bring men into a women's group.
So these women that come to the clinic, what is your target demographic? Who is coming to the Debutante Gravel Academy?
So we have had everything from this year we have several women that are like, I am a new cyclist, period. I own a bike and I can ride it, but that's it. So this year we have a very different demographic than we typically do. We have everything from women in their 20s. We actually had a 15-year-old, well, she wasn't 15, probably 13, 12, I don't know, 14, whatever, the first year. So we had a youth girl the first year, and clear up to we had a gal that was turning 70 just a few months after the clinic last year. So that's a pretty wide demographic age-wise. But really it's for, like, we have beginner gravel cyclist. I'm a cyclist. I come from road or mountain bike, and I'm looking to see what's different about gravel, to the very beginners, to the I'm going to go race the DK 200, which is now Unbound. What do I need to know?
So all across the spectrum.
All across the spectrum. Now, I would not say we are not geared at this point in time for the advanced gravel cyclist. That's not our demographic. Though you may learn things because it's education based, you likely, if you're an advanced gravel cyclist, you likely already know a lot of what we teach. So it wouldn't be for you, but it's for everybody else.
Well, walk me through a typical clinic. What kind of time frame are we talking? What kind of skills are we learning in the classroom setting and out on the road? Just I show up from out of town. and the clinic starts. When just take me through what they're going to learn. This is a weekend long clinic.
It is. We start Friday early afternoon, and we go through Sunday noon-ish, depending on wrap-up questions and things. But they come in, get everything, kind of get everybody settled around noon or 1. And then we really start diving in. We start with goal setting and visualization. And that's probably one of my more favorite topics because it really catches everybody off guard, and it kind of sets the stage for what's to come, because we open it up with what do you want to gain? What do you want to learn? Why are you even here? So we kind of set the stage with that, and then we go into bike safety because obviously bike safety is tremendously important. And we cover everything from nutrition to training to we have a chat with a retired pro mountain biker and a crazy experienced gravel cyclist.
So this isn't just you in a room lecturing a bunch of women about riding their bikes on gravel. You've got other people there helping you.
Absolutely. When I first created this, I wanted it to be a Kansas City experience. I wanted it to be something that you were talking and meeting people that are from here. And then the women that are coming, they're volunteers, but they're so nice. And so they're super approachable, and you can call them up after the clinic and you can set up rides with them, and they will teach you more and they will ride with you. Like they're very giving to the community. They want to grow the women in cycling. Both of them are now coaches. One's a cycling coach for another team, and both are coaches on other teams now. But one has just got her coaching certificate for the high school cycling in Kansas. So she's definitely giving back to the cycling community now. And so I've put together a team of locals that are giving, that you could call at any time. It's not just me. There's like 5 or 6 of us that have pulled our knowledge and experiences to put on the best clinic that we can, to give you the best people in Kansas City that will respond if you ask questions.
That's pretty amazing. So you're bringing these women into the fold. You're having them set goals. When they talk about their experiences, are you able to tailor this experience for them based on where they're at right now in their skill levels?
Absolutely. And that's one of the main reasons this year we split beginner and intermediate clinics into 2. The knowledge that you get at the first one is probably over the top of a lot of beginner athletes. If you've been an athlete before, you might understand some of it. So this way we're able to really gear the beginner clinic towards beginner cyclists, beginner gravelists. So we can, I don't want to say dumb it down, but we can really like educate more on what it's like to be a gravel cyclist. And then skills riding is now going to be at a beginner pace. We don't have to split the group. We don't have to worry about somebody catching up or somebody else taking off. And we can tailor the course to beginner riders for the beginner clinic and intermediate riders with bigger hills, bigger descents, more technical kind of terrain. And so I'm pretty excited to have the separation, because now we can really give the beginner ladies that really need the confidence that they need to go ride some of the easier courses, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then we can give the intermediate riders, some that already can ride maybe 50 miles, the skills that they lack to maintain their speed on the downhills, or learn how to ride rollers so they can use momentum to climb the next hill. So I'm pretty excited just for the skills ride in and of itself for the split. But the information we give will be more tailored to racing and sport on the second clinic, the intermediate clinic, and more tailored to the beginner gravel cyclist, more of a casual rider and tourer, and I'm dipping my toes in the water. Do I have what it takes?
So year 1 and year 2, you had one clinic, 1 weekend per year, and everybody came, and now you've presumably learned from those experiences. And this year you're saying you've dropped it into 2 clinics. Do you have anybody returning to go to the intermediate clinic that has came to year 1 or year 2 of the advanced?
We do. We actually have a gal that I know for sure off the top of my head that's been to both year 1, year 2.
Oh, really?
And now she's signed up for year 3 at the intermediate level. So we're pretty excited about that she thinks enough to come back and spend more time with us. We have another gal that came to year 1, missed year 2 because of COVID. She opted to defer. So we let her defer to this year. And now she has the benefit, especially with another year of cycling under her belt, to come to the intermediate level. And so that's where she's decided to put her entry, I suppose, or registration is at the intermediate. So I'll be excited to talk to them post-clinic to get their reviews on, what was the same, what was different, what was better, what was worse, what recommendations. And we tried to reach out this last year for recommendations on, what can we do to make it better? Because we're here to serve the riders. We want to give them everything that they have paid for. And we try to give out a sweet swag bag full of stuff. The swag bag is really worth the value of the clinic in and of itself. Plus you get all the information and camaraderie on top of that. And so I want people to feel like they get their money's worth when they come. And so if they're not getting their questions answered or they're, missing out on things because they're not a part of whatever group is doing it, I want to know because you've paid to come and learn something. And I want to be sure you get that full experience.
So what kind of feedback are you getting from women after they've done the clinic and they've went home and they've ridden gravel, they've ridden races or rides or done events? Are they following up with you? What kind of feedback are you getting from them?
Well, it's funny. I'm friends with most of them on Facebook, so I get to keep up with them even if I'm not riding with them. And it's really fun to see them out. It's even more fun to see them out in their Darkearly jersey or their Debutante jersey with all the bright colors. But it's funny. One of the gals that attended the first clinic, we went on the skills ride, and she's relatively experienced gravel cyclist. And Catherine Wahlberg was one of our guest coaches along with Karen Pritchard. And they were like tag teaming the skill stuff. And one would perform it and one would coach it. Everybody's kind of waiting. And she's standing there like, why do I need to know this? I don't need to know this stuff. Like she's ridden gravel for almost a year, relatively experienced, like I said. And she goes to a race just a month or so after our clinic, and she calls me up and said, I thought all of that stuff was so dumb that I would never use it, and I used every single one of the skills that they taught me at the clinic. And so that's like, we're doing something right. Like even an experienced rider, like not terribly experienced, but she already has some confidence and isn't, things don't really bother her. She even gained a ton of knowledge and confidence after that. So that's what it's all about.
Well, I'm not really allowed to partake, but I have helped. I've helped as a SAG out on the gravel, and I've seen the faces of these women, and they look like they're having a ball. I've heard from a lot of local men that do feel slighted that this isn't a men's clinic. They want these kind of skills like this. But I think I understand what you're saying, making this just for the ladies. And from what I see from the outside looking in, it looks phenomenal. I really have to follow up with the debutantes this year after the clinic. We've got to put some of them on the podcast.
Oh, that would be great.
I've been wanting to do that, but it's a packed weekend.
It is. We are so busy. The ladies get a little bit more of a break than I do because they don't have to set up, clean up, get ready for the next day. But it is nonstop all weekend. Like I say, we start early afternoon. We generally go until like 8 or 9, somewhere between 7 and 9 on Friday night. We include dinners and lunches at the clinic, which is one of the reasons we go so late. But that's so there's more bonding experience. And then we try to answer questions at the end of the day that, somebody had a question during a specific topic. And so we want to be sure we're covering those questions if they don't get answered. And so between the sessions and the questions left over and the guest speakers hanging around to chit chat. And then all the things we have in the meals, it's nonstop. We'll start Saturday, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we go 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Now, part of that's skills, right? We're not sitting in the classroom all day. Part of that's Q&A, so it's less strenuous as far as learning and thinking, and we try to break it up. But yeah, it's a packed weekend. I'm pretty exhausted by the end.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this question. Since you are on the Gravel Warfare podcast, the crossroads of grassroots gravel and blue-collar bike packing,
Sure.
Are you just talking gravel, or do you cover bike packing?
So we do a little bit with bike packing. Most of it is gravel. We do some with bike packing because in the past years, Andrew the Maker, a local bag maker, has been one of our guest speakers, and he brings in bikes that are loaded up with his bags, and he talks about different setups and shows different types of bags and what different bags are good for and why you might prefer this over this and how to choose what you have. So we cover it slightly, but that is actually an avenue we've talked about pursuing in future years as a third weekend for the Debutante clinic. A beginner clinic, an intermediate race clinic, and a bike packing, bike touring kind of clinic. We don't have that yet, but we've talked about it. Yeah.
I'm your husband, and that's kind of news to me. but that's really interesting. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong or if anybody even cares, but I've said for a while that I think this sport is turning towards the bike packing thing. I mean, gravel races aren't going anywhere, but
No.
I think some of the racing may get into more some of the endurance stuff and just maybe fun bike packing weekend trips and things like that.
Right.
That's a skill also, whether you think that or not.
It is, and like knowing how to pack your bike and understanding what you need and you don't need. And I think from what I've watched, some people get into gravel cycling to get off the road. Some people get into gravel cycling because they're an endurance athlete. Some people get into gravel cycling and realize they're an endurance athlete, and then 100 miles isn't enough, and 200 miles isn't enough. And now there's these 300, 500, 700,000 mile races that they didn't even know existed that are there. And it's like, oh, maybe I can do that. How do I do that? And so there has been talk between some of my ladies and myself about growth.
I just cashed out the snapper.
Uh-oh. Now what? More snapper?
Another snapper.
Watch out, they bite.
That's true. And they kind of get your hand wet, but so be it. Logboat. That's good.
Good.
That's
Glad
good
you like
stuff.
it.
I like that.
I like my yoga pants.
Amazing. You haven't even touched your yoga
Yes,
pants.
I have.
No, I think that's good. So maybe 2022 we can look forward to Dirt Road Debutante Clinic Part 1, 2, and 3 with a bike packing option on there.
I'm not going to commit to that yet verbally for the world to see or hear. But there's talk.
There's talk.
I'll just say there's talk. So
we'll take that.
One thing at a time.
So I think this is really cool. I think you're bringing a lot of women into the cycling world, or the gravel cycling world for sure, the adventure racing that may otherwise not be here. This is a difference I see between men and women, of the timidness of just signing up for a race and going.
Sure. Women want a group. They want their people. They want camaraderie. Even if you don't ride together, when we show up, it's nice to see somebody you recognize.
Yeah, I think this is a great thing. So I guess we haven't really touched on. Let's get some details actually of the clinic. So where is the clinic held? We've talked about we live in the Kansas City area.
Sure.
Kansas City is an awesome gravel cycling hub in the Midwest. We've got lots of different terrain. It's not as flat as you probably think it is.
Kansas is not flat.
Where exactly are women going to travel to go to the actual clinic?
Sure. So the clinic is actually held in Leavenworth, Kansas, right on the Missouri River, which makes it hilly. We are going to be at the Hampton Inn in downtown Leavenworth. They are hooking us up with a conference room and discounted rates for our ladies, so we appreciate that. We will ride in Leavenworth, Kansas, or in Weston, Missouri, just across the river, 5 or 10 minute drive, depending on which clinic you're coming to. And we really try to gear the ride based on the riders coming. So we don't always choose the terrain or the course until I have everybody signed up, and then I can really gear it towards the group that's there so we can get the most for them.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's where it's going to be. And Santa Fe Bike Shop, Santa Fe Trails Coffee and Bicycle, or Bicycle and Coffee Shop in Leavenworth. They host us on Sunday, and they go over the beginner maintenance and roadside repair class for the ladies. And so they get to see how to clean their bike, how to maintain their bike, how to set up their tires tubeless, how to use one of the tools that we get in the bike, thanks to Wolf Tooth components. And so, yeah, that's where we're at, Leavenworth, Kansas.
So let's address the big elephant in the room. We've talked about the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about the skills. We've talked about the coaches. We've talked about the motivation and the camaraderie. What's this thing cost? If I'm a woman that wants to come from out of town, I'm going to come all the way from wherever I'm at to Leavenworth, Kansas.
Right.
How much do I need to pay for this clinic, 3-day clinic? And you mentioned an awesome swag bag.
I did.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay. So the clinic runs about $450, depending on when you register. You might be able to save a few dollars registering early. That helps us with cost because then we can place our orders knowing who's coming. So it's about $450. The swag bag is pretty sweet, if you ask me. You get a bag, a reusable bag. This year we're getting our bag from Orange Mud, so it's going to be the Orange Mud drop bags that they have. And then in the bag you get a jersey from Bora, who's another sponsor. You get a Wolf Tooth tool from Wolf Tooth, who's obviously another sponsor. You get a bicycle bag. Andrew the maker has made bags for us the last 2 years. This year we actually have some leftover bags because I placed the order pre-COVID. So technically, I guess he's made the bags for us. Gravel Rose is going to make some bags for us at some point in time. We have, and those are all kind of big ticket items. Like the bag itself that the goodies come in isn't super expensive, but the jersey is a $70 or $80 value. The bag, the bicycle bag is $55, I think, thereabouts. The Wolf Tooth tool is $30 some odd dollars. We feed you lunch and dinner on the days that we eat lunch and dinner. So 2 lunches, 2 dinners. You get race entries. Each year the races vary based on who is willing to give us some. This year I know for sure Smithville Bike Co-op is throwing in goodies. He's throwing in entries to his races over in Smithville. So the Humphreys 100 and the Smithville Gravel Grinder. One's spring, one's fall. He's really hooking the ladies up pretty fat, if you ask me. Gravel Warfare packs a little bike boo-boo bag. And I've been told by multiple folks that bicycle boo-boo bag has been more than handy on numerous occasions.
You know, that's something that I came up with, when I first got into gravel. I'm kind of a pack rat, and I don't know. I think I feel like I should be able to overhaul a bike on the side of the road if I need to. I carry a lot of stuff, probably too much stuff. But, maybe I should go through that little boo-boo bag on the YouTube channel. Maybe I should do a little video on that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. The ladies like it. I've got feedback multiple times. Man, I've used that thing from him more than once. It's handy.
It's pretty simple, but it's pretty useful stuff. So
Sure.
Maybe I'll go through that. Maybe I'll make a YouTube video on that.
Sure.
Go through the little Gravel Warfare boo-boo bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've got Santa Fe that opens up for us and offers discounts to the ladies and teaches. They host a clinic. We have Chamois Butter, who has given countless tubes of chamois cream to everybody, which is fantastic for a new cyclist who doesn't even know what chamois butter is. And last year, Kurt Shellman came out and gave a talk on chamois butter. And like in his talk and discussion, I'm sitting there and I'm like, huh, I didn't know that. And I learned stuff. So that's pretty awesome. We have, oh gosh, there's so many things. I can't even think of everybody. We do have some sponsors that give cash. Lantern Rouge obviously is a huge supporter of cycling in Kansas City. He's a huge promoter for women in sport and women in cycling. He's in the Cycling Hall of Fame of Kansas, so that's pretty cool that he thinks we're doing something worthy of his money. Gosh, I mean, we've had help from so many places. Natural Grocer Cycling Team with Dan Messina, they've donated to us. They've hooked us up with some snacks for the bags. Oh man, I'm trying to go through the list. We generally have things that are like homemade too that get donated. So we've had Frankenbees has donated hand cream and chapstick in past years. I actually think we have enough left over from last year to give out at the beginner clinic this year, which is pretty awesome. Because, we set up for a full crew last year and then COVID hit. So we let our women decide if they wanted a refund or a deferral based on COVID. And many of them took a deferral. Half took a deferral, half decided to come. A few asked for a refund. So we have extra product from last year. So it's kind of nice that we don't have to ask the sponsors again, when I know some of them were hit pretty hard with COVID also. But they still sent the product, and we have it to give out this year.
You should probably check your Frankenbees stock. Mm-hmm. I may have dipped in there a little bit. I kind of prefer the root beer flavored chapstick when I'm out on long rides.
Have you tried their cola one?
I've not seen the cola one,
well,
but I like the root beer chapstick when I'm on my real long rides. So you may be missing a couple of those.
I'll double check before.
But Frankenbees is pretty awesome.
They're pretty awesome.
They're local made.
Yeah.
Local made soaps and lotions and
chapsticks
and whatnot.
Oh, and they have a muscle bar thing that I've purchased from them.
Oh, I don't have any muscles. I wouldn't know anything about
that. It's really awesome. And you just put it on sore muscles, which is handy for this time of year when you're riding a lot and picking up the speed, pace, endurance, power, and you get a little sore. It helps. So it helps with inflammation and stuff. I think that's new. I don't know if they're technically selling it yet, so maybe not, but it works.
So $450 for a 3-day total immersive clinic with an awesome swag bag and meals included.
Yes. So, and that's not even all of the swag that we have.
I think that's a fair value. It's not something you're going to do on a whim. It's not as inexpensive as a gravel race.
Sure.
But I think there's a great value in that. I know there's a lot of clinics around the country.
Sure.
I don't know if this is the cheapest. I certainly know it's not the most expensive, but it sounds like a great value to me.
I tried to make it a value clinic. I want to, even if they don't learn anything, I want the women to feel like they walk away with at least something of value, that they say, okay, maybe I didn't learn anything, but I got this cool stuff and I met some cool people, right? So that's kind of my backup plan, right? Like plan A is teach them, educate them, help them gain confidence. Plan B is maybe you didn't get that, but you get some cool stuff. And plan C is a never fail of camaraderie. So
tell everybody where they can find info on the clinic.
So we are on Bike Reg, Dirt Road Debutante Gravel Academy. There's a beginner and an intermediate, so read through the differences. There's a Facebook page. There's Instagram and the Darkearly website. And everything is Darkearly except for Bike Reg, which is the name of the clinic at Dirt Road Debutante Gravel Academy.
Is it too late to get in the clinic for 2021?
It's not too late. We did just place orders for the jerseys, so you will still get a jersey. It will just arrive later than the clinic. But no, it's not too late. We still have spots. We are keeping it a little smaller this year because of COVID. We're not out of the woods yet. And so the smaller size will allow us to spread out a bit more in the conference room. But we still have a few spots available. So
give me the dates of the beginner and intermediate clinic.
Okay. Beginner clinic is March 26th through the 28th. We start early afternoon, finish noon-ish on Sunday with an optional longer gravel ride post-clinic, which is always been fun. We've had a blast with that every year. The intermediate clinic is July 23rd through the 25th. It's going to be probably similar time frame. We haven't quite finalized the scheduling yet. And that is geared more for the racer, somebody who's interested in racing or taking it to a slightly more advanced level.
So we started this podcast and we mentioned that you are a triathlete, a cyclist, a runner, but you're also a coach.
I am.
You're a certified cycling coach. You're a certified triathlete coach, triathlon coach, whatever. That's not what we do here. But you have athletes that you coach on a regular basis. You have several women that you coach. What's on tap for you guys? Just on a personal level, what are you and your athletes doing? Give me some events that you're doing this year.
Okay.
As you said, we're not out of the woods with COVID.
Right.
But there is some things on the calendar. Last year was not great
Kind of
as
a
far
bust.
as any kind of competition, but
Sure.
the women that you coach are competitors for the most part.
Yeah.
What's on tap for you guys?
Yeah. So right now, gravel cycling is hot. And there's more events planned, and they're already on the calendar. So for gravel cycling, we have open range. I think there will be 4 or 5 of us that are bike packing open range.
5 Darkearly athletes?
I think.
Wow.
I could be wrong. I could be miscounting.
All bike packing?
I think we're all going to bike pack it for fun.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I
gonna
know
be there.
when. Yeah, I might be on the back of your bike
Ooh.
if I could tuck you into it.
We might take the tandem to open range. I don't think I mentioned that. That's in discussion.
Yeah.
No firm decision on that, but that's something we haven't done. We've never bike packed the two-headed monsters, so
Could be fun.
it could be fun. We'll put a pin in that for now.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure exactly how many, but there's a handful of us going. More of us are bike packing than racing this year, so that's pretty cool. Several of us are going to Cotuit out in Colorado. The distances vary from 125 to 190 is what my gals are racing. I'm pretty excited about that. That'll be my longest single speed debut. So I've done 100 miles, though not in a race.
You're going to do 190 miles at Cotuit on single speed.
Yeah, I'm going to
Cotuit is, just for anybody who's not abreast of that race, that's a Colorado to Utah race.
Yes.
Is this have they had this race before?
No, last year was going to be the first
thing?
year.
Okay.
Yep. It got postponed, and then it got moved to this year, and then it got postponed again. So that's at the end of May. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah, this is something that hasn't been on my radar, so you're going to have to give us a
desert
recap of that.
Desert Gravel is the race promoters or I don't think they're the sponsor, but I think they've done lots of races, but this is the first Cotuit race. Morgan with Desert Gravel.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
190 miles on a single speed for the first time. So
up mountains and down mountains and at altitude. It ought to be interesting to say the least.
That'll be pretty cool. So you've got some athletes going to Cotuit,
Yep.
open range. What else? What else is on tap?
Let's see. We have several athletes going to the dam ride, the day across Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. We have several doing.
That's one I wanted to do
Yep.
this year, and it's not going to work out with my schedule. I have a previous engagement on that date, but that's something that I really wanted to do.
And
so
what I
I'm
think
pretty
about
envious.
What I think is cool about this, one of my athletes didn't want to race it. It's like 240 miles, I think, is the big ride. She didn't want to race it, but she has offered to be SAG support for another athlete, for a teammate. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome to see.
That's that camaraderie you're
It
talking
is.
about.
Absolutely. There are, oh my gosh, there are so many things going on. Those are kind of the big ones. We have, of course, everybody's going to show up to the Wild Goose Chase in October.
Well, of course they will.
We have 1 or 2 that are going to go down to Wichita for the Big Ring series.
Oh, Rage Against the Train
Rage
Ring.
Against the Train Ring. That's right. Now I don't know time-wise, I don't know if they can make all 4, but they're going to do a
That's
few.
an interesting series. We haven't talked a lot about that on the podcast.
I like the idea, though. I love it.
I love the idea, and I've been to Wichita, and I've ridden bikes in Wichita, just not at that particular event.
Right.
But my understanding is it's like north, south, east, west of Wichita proper, and it's really 4 different terrains, which is very unique. We have some different things in Kansas City, but that seems really cool. I've heard that's a really good event.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I have 1 or 2 going out to Bobby Thompson's ride for the Flint Hills Gravel. That is new this year to raise money for his brother.
That'll be interesting.
Yep. So I think that's going to be a great ride. Pony Express is on the calendar for sure for some of them.
Out in Marysville, Kansas.
Marysville, that's a great ride.
Yeah.
You better pack a lunch, though.
We did that one on the tandem a couple years ago.
Ooh,
it was the B road. The B roads are B roads.
Or no road.
They were pretty rough.
There were a few that I'm like, are we on the path still? So that's a great race. One of our gals is going to travel to Nebraska a couple of times. I wish I could remember the names of the races she's going to do. But I think she's from there, so she's content going back to travel there. Yeah, the ladies are really stepping up their game and really stretching the races out this year.
Well, it seems like your athletes, some of them Darkearly athletes, some of them debutantes.
Yeah. The debutante. Don't even get me started on what they're doing. Holy smokes.
So the debutante's a different story. We're just talking about the athletes that you coach on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they're in the mix and they've got a lot of things planned. I hope it all works out this year with COVID.
Yeah. We have one going to do the virtual, extremely social distance Mid-South.
Not virtual.
Did I get it? Did I get it right?
Extremely social distance.
Yes.
That's right.
So,
that's coming up here real quick.
Yeah, so she's going to do that.
I'm going to do an abbreviated version of that.
Was that like 5 miles?
I don't know. It's going to occur at night. I've been told something is happening. There's probably going to be natter days involved, numerous Casey's stops. I don't know.
Does that include Casey's Pizza?
I don't know if this is endorsed by Mid-South, but it's going to be local, and I've heard there's some guys doing it, and I think I'm going to jump in with that. So, Tiffany, I appreciate you coming by the podcast. I appreciate everything you're doing for the gravel community, for your athletes, and for women in general. I think that's really awesome. You deserve kudos for that.
Well, thanks. I couldn't do it without everybody else's support. I mean, really, I'm just me, and I use other people's skills and knowledge and money to make it happen.
But before we go, so let's talk a little bit more. Give everybody one last. Where do you find Darkearly Racing? Mm-hmm. Where do you find the Debutante Clinic? What are the dates and where is it at? Just give us one more time.
One more rundown. Okay. So Darkearly Racing can be found at www.darkearly.com. We can be found on Instagram and Facebook under Darkearly. I like to keep it simple that way. For the Debutante Clinic, we can be found on Bike Reg at just search Dirt Road Debutante Gravel Academy, or you can find the events page on Facebook for Dirt Road Debutante Gravel Academy. And the icons are different. The pictures are different for beginner and intermediate, but they're both there. And Instagram and Facebook both have information, but really the bulk of the information for the clinic is going to be found on our website at darkearly.com or on Bike Reg. I think there's some information in the events page for the 2 events, but and there's a link back to Bike Reg if you want to register or check out more stuff.
All right, perfect. That sounds great. Tiffany, thank you for coming on the podcast. Debutantes, I'm coming for you. You're going to be on the podcast next. Maybe even the YouTube. If this whole thing works out, we'll find out. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ting.
Ching, ching. Thanks for listening to the Gravel Warfare Podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And until next time, go ride your story.